I have deprived myself of a drink to slurp from this evening to spare you all from that. This video is primarily for the benefit of my most recent followers who have not heard the endless debates we've had about this 35% house price fall number on this channel going back a couple of years. And I keep on periodically seeing comments dotted around below videos and on X saying, "Come on, Charlie, isn't it time you just put your hands up and admit it? Have some decency, have some integrity, have some honesty, admit that you're wrong." It's quite a clever approach actually to do that, rather than the "you're wrong, stop saying it, from the angry ones. They're sort of, friendly, "Come on, Charlie, just admit it's not going to happen." And the first thing I want to say is I find it bizarre how anyone could care what I think is going to change anything. First of all. Secondly, I do have quite a strong, compelling feeling about these house prices. I always have done, and I'm going to update you in a minute on what's changed since I first made that statement of what I was expecting. Because a couple of things have changed, a couple of things that have surprised me. And thirdly, I'm going to just explain that my 35% house price fall expectation doesn't apply to anybody, because whoever you are, you're either going to be below that average drop or above that average drop. I have specified several times that I think it's going to be from minus 15% to minus 50% with regional variations and plus or minus 6 months time variations as well. So there is nobody for whom 35% exact house price falls are going to be a thing. And not only that, it affects different property types. One of the things I didn't expect to see that I now can see happening, which is the downsizing, the great downsizing that we've seen. So I'm just going to hopefully spend no more than 10 minutes talking through this. I initially put a video out on this channel on the 16th of February 2022, so almost exactly 2 years ago, saying the conditions for house prices to begin falling are just beginning to appear. I was right. I then put another video out on the Best Agent YouTube channel aimed at agents in May of 2022 saying, guys, batten down the hatches. It's about to get nasty. It's about to get ugly. Transactions are going to drop and house prices are going to drop. And then I put a video out on this channel in August 2022 saying 8 reasons why house prices will collapse. Not crash, collapse. And that's when this channel took off on the back of that video, amazingly, which was just a sort of quick recorded it, uploaded it, no editing. And here we are now with just past 19,000 subscribers yesterday. So I'm now going to just reiterate the details of what I think, why I think it, why I think it's important to say it, who it affects, who it doesn't affect, who needs to listen to me and who doesn't need to listen to me. Let me start with that. Nobody needs to listen to me. But I think anybody whose life might be affected by an unexpected change in house prices would do well to just consider my point of view and my background, my point of view from my background, which is 25 years working within a estate agency as a provider of technology and having understood the dynamics of how house prices work from a sort of macro point of view. I could well be wrong, guys. I am not making a prediction. This is not a prediction. It's what I'm expecting to happen. It also could be subject to change if there are any major changes, major government interventions, major changes in global politics. But so far, it's all going pretty much as I, and more recently as Alex, have expected. So spoiler alert, I'm not changing it. In fact, I've become more confident of my figure now than I was before, despite the house price indices saying that, hey, everything's fine and house prices are going back up and everything's fine. House prices are not the same as house price indices. House prices are not the same as an average transaction value, because all of you who own houses don't own the average typical house, because there's no such thing. And also the way that average transaction values are calculated doesn't relate directly to house prices as you and I think of house prices, even though over the long term there's quite a strong correlation. But in this very, very weird market, that correlation has been shot to pieces. So what I have been saying since autumn 2022 is that my expectation is that nominal house prices, so I'm not going to say, oh, well, if you factor in inflation, then I was right. I'm saying excluding inflation, which will make it worse. I'm expecting house prices to fall roughly, on average, 35% across the country. Now, I'm going to be specific here that my area of knowledge and expertise is England and Wales, always has been. I have no insight to Scotland and no insight to Northern Ireland. So my 35% predictions, or sorry, not predictions, caught myself out there. 35% expectations are about the English and Welsh market. I have said that there'll be regional variations on both level of falls and timing of falls. And I've said that I think roughly the variations regionally on price falls will range from between minus 15%, so 15% nominal price falls, to up to or down to minus 50% nominal house price falls. From peak to trough, over however long that takes, not, and I have never said it'll happen in 1 year. I don't know why anyone thinks I have, because I've never said that. I wouldn't have said that. There was absolutely nothing that would have made me say that. I've never thought that. House price falls always take several years. From the 2022 peak, for as long as it takes, and my trough estimation is sometime in 2025 with regional variations of plus or minus 6 months, and we won't see them reported. We won't know until 2026. And so, first of all, I can't say if I'm right, or nobody can say, neither can I say whether or not that I'm going to be right or wrong until we see the land registry publishing the actual results of 2025's transactions for prices paid. We aren't going to know. But the two additions I will now add in that I didn't see coming, that I didn't see in my expectations, but have happened, is number one, the downsizing effect. And the downsizing effect has happened. The two phenomena are that, first of all, people with larger value and larger homes who are perhaps slightly better at looking at the macroeconomic picture and seeing what's coming over the horizon have moved early and gone, we should get out of here. We should downsize, not even necessarily because house prices are going to fall, but because the cost of living crisis put the costs of running large detached houses up to unmanageable levels for many people. And so, especially people coming into retirement, that kind of stuff, have gone, let's get out of this expensive place. Let's downsize to somewhere that doesn't cost an arm and a leg to run. And that happened. That has happened. It has been happening, and it is reflected in the transaction volumes at different levels. And you've seen a much bigger drop in transaction volumes at lower prices than at higher prices. The effect of leaseholds and all the problems surrounding leaseholds have impacted flat prices particularly badly. And all of those slightly wiser, more financially savvy downsizing sellers have not been buying leasehold flats because they've gone, we're not going to go into a leasehold with uncapped maintenance charge and uncapped service charges, fleeceholds. They've gone, no, we're too clever for that. Let's go and buy freehold, terraced or semi-detached houses. And so the demand for terraced and semi-detached houses, generally speaking, with exceptions, has remained higher because there's been the natural upsizing demand from people who are moving out of their first-time buyer flats into second-time buyer family homes. So there's been demand of selling flats and moving into terraced and semi-detached houses, as well as the downsizing demand out of detached houses into semis and terraced houses. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming at all. Wasn't looking for it, and I don't look at the data that close, that much level of granularity. But that's happening. That's definitely happening. We are, yeah, it's 2 years since I made that February video. It's not quite 18 months since I made the August video. It's impossible to see what has actually happened with actual house prices, because not only is the land registry delay significant, but also their sample size is tiny. It takes them over a year to complete their registrations for transactions. So there's no way of knowing for sure. The lender indices are small. I think someone said Nationwide is only 5% of the market. Halifax is a bit more, but those are mortgaged-only properties. They've excluded cash transactions. So we've got no. And Zoopla's is just a weird, estimate with the best of intentions, but it's just a weird zestimate, I think they call it. So we just don't know, and we don't know if I'm right or wrong. But I talk to agents on a daily basis. I get feedback from agents on a daily basis. I get feedback from you guys on a daily basis, all across the different platforms. I get comments on these videos. I get comments on TikTok, and I get comments on X. And the only thing I've got to go on from the general public, outside my own sphere of data collection, that kind of stuff, with Best Agent, is the anecdotes. And what I'm getting is plenty of anecdotes of, I got 20% off, I got 30% off, I got 50 grand off. I managed to get the seller. I stood my ground, and the seller eventually came down to me. I get a non-stop trickle of those anecdotes. And what I don't get is anecdotes of people going, I've gone way higher than I expected. I've sold really short time. I've sold for way over asking price. There was just a massive bun fight of buyers on the viewings. Nothing. I don't get any of that. Yes, there are areas where property is still selling quite well, but not like it was. It's not, prices aren't going up, generally speaking. And even agents, so again, agents cannot say it publicly because sellers will punish them for doing so. But agents are saying privately, the market is sticky, it's stagnant, overvaluing is making things harder and worse. Prices are falling more than the house price indices would suggest. And so I'm keeping my mind open to the macroeconomic data as well as the anecdotal data I'm getting from agents and movers alike around the country. But Charlie, prices haven't fallen that far. Well, we don't know. I mean, the land registry's lagged stuff says that London's down 6% and England's down 3% year on year. But that's for deals that were agreed back in June, and that's for a very small sample size. And that's their average transaction value, not actual prices. Even though their data is calculated from actual prices paid, it is not an average. It is a hedonically regressed, weight-adjusted mix, not an average. But the number one reason why, sorry, one more thing to say that I didn't foresee. I didn't foresee how long the economy would cling on, how long people would cling on, how ferociously the moving industry would continue to talk the market up like everything's fine. How many buyers are still going, oh, right, okay, so it's okay, house prices aren't going to come down, we'll just buy now and go ahead and overpay. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. It just genuinely surprised me that people making a purchase of that scale are still that easily hoodwinked by headlines. But as I've said from the start, the reason I see the house price falls being so big is because of the well-documented, easily evidenced, widespread evisceration of disposable incomes, even though real wage growth has surprised and actually grown like 1% real wage growth, which was on the back of inflation. There are a lot of big wage rises. It was a simple mathematical certainty to see what was going to happen. Then Alex joined me and started bringing in some thoughts and some analysis that I hadn't done about looking at the savings pile and the COVID savings and how fast that was being worn down, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of COVID cash that's been hanging on in there. A lot of people who don't want to accept the house prices are falling. And in fact, there are even buyers who don't want to accept the house prices are falling because they want to buy and they don't want the house prices to fall after they've bought. And so there are buyers out there going, well, I don't think house prices are going to fall that much. And I hope that they've bought well. I hope they didn't overpay, and I hope they don't end up losing their house because they bought at the wrong time. But as Bloomberg said in its daily email today, the dark clouds are gathering over the economy. The Body Shop announcing 10 or 20,000 jobs now at risk on top of all of the others that we've had. We've got GDP and we've got inflation figures reading out this week. And it doesn't really matter what they are. It won't change my view unless they are shockingly different, but they're not going to be. And the level of denial over what's going to happen to house prices has been matched only by the level of denial over the state of the economy. And now, I mean, to be fair, a year ago, people were saying, no, there's no chance of recession. No, there's no chance of job layoffs. Everything's fine. The economy's strong. The economy's strong. Companies aren't going to go bust. People aren't going to lose jobs. It's just great. That message has sort of quietly gone away now, and there aren't people any longer saying that. And there's, today there was an article out on Bloomberg. Private equity returns plunged to global financial crisis levels, and that's for 2023. That's for last year. All of these things were entirely mathematically foreseeable. The property market, the residential property market, moves so slowly at a glacial pace, and the effects of these job cuts have not yet fed through into the official economic figures. And so there are still plenty of people out there clinging on to the fact that their house price hasn't fallen as much as they wanted, as much as they feared. And there are plenty of buyers clinging on to the fact that they hope they are going to. And I'm not excited about the prospect of house price falls, because I'm not excited about the reason that they're going to fall, which is how bad the economy is going to get, how bad it already is and going to continue getting. I'm not excited about any of that, because all of that is bad for everybody, for the company, for the country, for the economy. And even if you're someone that's got yourself into a really, really good position, it's not nice to be in a country where everyone's skint and everyone's struggling to make ends meet, even if they have got a job. So I don't welcome any of this. There are buyers who are going to be welcoming price falls. But the problem that a lot of those buyers are overlooking is that some of you won't have the jobs that you've still got now by the time prices get to where they are going to go. Some of you will, but some of you won't. And it'll be harder to borrow money, and it'll be harder to buy, which is why I said in my last video, I wouldn't be waiting for prices to fall. If you want a home, if you can found a home and you can afford one now, you get a mortgage now and you can comfortably afford it, I wouldn't wait. I'd get on. Just don't overpay. Do not overpay. But don't wait. If you need and want a home, go ahead. And this nuance in my messaging just blows so many people's minds. All of the people who are polarized to one extreme or the other cannot understand this mixed message. But it's never one extreme or the other, is it? Especially in something as complex as a housing market and an economy and jobs and finance and interest rates and all of these things, it's never obvious. It's never simple. And that's why I try to bring this insight. And Craptacular8282, thank you so much for your amazing comment after my last video, where you did actually see exactly what I'm trying to say. When it comes to the 35% house price falls, what I'm saying is, please consider that possibility when making your purchase decision and how it might affect you if I'm right. And if you considered it and you've dismissed, as most of you have, very, very few of you, even those of you who want house prices to fall, very few of you agree with my 35% figure. And that's cool. That's fine. It doesn't matter. And my 35% figure is not an accurately calculated thing. It is an approximation. It's a roughly 1/3 wipeout of nominal house prices. Roughly. That's what I'm expecting, with roughly variations of plus or minus 15% or so from there, depending on where you are, depending on what your property type is, all kinds of stuff, depending on what the economy locally to you is doing. It's just a wake up and don't buy the guff. Wake up and just consider the possibility, because When you're making a decision as big as buying a home or deciding to move home or taking on a new financial commitment, it's naive at best and foolish at worst to enter into a massive financial commitment on a wing and a prayer of hope that everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And to make a conscious decision to not consider the worst case scenario. Because that's what you're doing. When you just go, oh, it should be fine, right? Yeah, hey, it's going to be fine. Mainstream media, just ignore the headlines. They're always there, just sensational. It's funny. People will use the mainstream media thing whichever direction it helps them. If they think the mainstream media is being optimistic, they go, oh, mainstream media, they're just optimistic, they're talking it all up. If they think the mainstream media are being negative, they go, oh, mainstream media do anything for clicks and likes. And the point is, you have to look beyond the mainstream media and their headlines. If you make your life decisions based on just what's in the media, you're making a big mistake. You've got to do your own research into your transaction for your property type based on your circumstances in your area. And what I urge everybody to do, if you are taking on a major financial obligation, is to consider the worst case scenario so that you don't get blindsided if the economy does what myself and Alex are close to certain that it's going to do. And I choose those words carefully and not lightly. We are both close to certain about how bad the economy is going to get. And we keep on challenging our own assumptions on that, and we keep on thinking, what have we missed? What's going to save it? And even though we do that, we go. And so that's why we think the housing market's going to get that bad. And I do think prices are going to fall, as far as I've said all along. And 18 months on from that initial statement, with a heavy heart, I'm saying, yeah, it's playing out as expected, perhaps slightly slower than expected, but as expected, it is playing out, and it's going to be grim. It's not going to be grim because house prices fall. It's going to be grim because of what the economy is going to do that's going to make house prices fall. That's what's going to be grim. That's what's depressing. And to those of you who find this scary, it depends on your position, doesn't it? But if you were standing on a beach and there was a tidal wave coming or a tsunami coming, and someone said, there's a tsunami coming, and without turning around to see if they're telling the truth, he went, stop scaremongering. That's how I feel when I have people telling me to stop scaremongering. Like, I can see it coming. I can fucking see it coming. Turn around, look for yourself, see for yourself, and then tell me if you think I'm scaremongering. Because I'm very, very happy for people to disagree with me, as long as you've considered it. Consider it, disagree with me, and then go and take on your massive financial obligation. Okay? And if you're right and I'm wrong, I will be happy. I will be happy about that. I'll be happy for you. Because at least you will have considered it, and you will have considered what it means for you in your situation, in your area, with the property that you're doing in your life circumstances. But if you want to, I mean, is it dangerous of me to say this? Some people think that what I'm saying is dangerous because it's going to stop people buying. But I'm saying buy now if you can. I'm still saying that because having a home is the most important thing. I'm still saying buy now. The people who say it's dangerous is because if you don't buy now because of me, you might miss out because prices might go up and then you can't buy, and that's dangerous. Okay, let me just accept theoretically or hypothetically that is a dangerous thing, that some people might miss out on being able to secure a home because on the basis of my videos you decided to wait and not buy, and then prices go up and you can't buy. Well, I think what's more likely than prices going up so you can't buy is mortgage finance becoming unavailable. Then you won't be able to buy. And that's one of the reasons that I say buy now. But I'm still willing to accept the risk of that happening, because that is, not getting onto the property ladder when you wanted to is nothing like as life-changingly bad as getting onto it at the wrong time and at the wrong price, and then losing your deposit, losing your equity, losing your life savings, and losing your home, and possibly ending up homeless with debt still around your neck even after you've lost your home. Miss out to getting the property ladder? Yeah, that's not good. That's bad. That's frustrating. Missed opportunity. be kicked out of the home that you've saved 15 years to buy, be in negative equity and be homeless. They don't really fucking compare, do they? They don't really compare. So I will hear the accusations that what I'm saying is dangerous and reject them, or accept that the danger you're talking about is insignificant compared to the danger that I'm warning about, which is now, and I'm going to wrap this up here because I wasn't supposed to do a video today. I'm supposed to be doing something else. Tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock, Madison Fox is coming on to share her family's story of losing their home because of negative equity in the 2008 downturn, how it affected the kids, how it's left her parents who lost their home. And it's the first time we've got someone who's been willing to come onto the channel and share in detail their story of negative equity. And it's a tale of caution. That's the point of it. And not only the effect on her parents, but the effect on her and her siblings, and what's happened since. So that's 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Alex Groundwater will be joining me on that, and welcoming Madison to come and share the story. And I hope you'll all join. I hope that's answered the question for those of you going, come on, Charlie, when are you going to, house prices are falling, interest rates are going to come down, when are you going to admit you're wrong? Well, 2026 is when I'll admit I was wrong, if I'm wrong. Still a lot of you struggling to come to terms with the fact that it's not 2025 yet, so we just won't know until then whether I'm right or wrong. I am tempted to open the live chat and look at what you've been saying. I'm not going to, forgive me, because I will end up being sucked into the whole of answering live chat questions, which I did last night. And it was supposed to be a 20-minute live stream last night, and it was an hour and 20 minutes, and I got into trouble quite rightly. So I'm not going to. So to all of you in the live chat right now, thank you. Hi there. Welcome. I haven't seen a single comment. When I end this stream, I'll have a quick scroll through of the live stream comments. But otherwise, have a lovely evening. See you tomorrow evening, hopefully. All the best. Remember, buy now, but don't overpay. And if you're selling, don't overprice. Price below the market. Let's get transaction volumes going, because that helps everybody. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. And see you on the next one. Bye-bye.